it's just weird that they would report it. They'd run it on the ticker all day, that his agent would say it's not true, that his dad would say it's not true, that Tom Brady would remain silent for now 48 hours.
Adam Schefter and Darlington both reported that Brady's going to retire. And the way I sense this going down is Brady wanted to control the story. And so now we wait for the actual confirmation of it, where NFL Network immediately jumped on it and started confirming and citing sources as well that Brady is going to retire. They jumped on top of the ESPN report from Schefter. And then all the other outlets.
I think Jason
Lockenfora was probably fifth or sixth in line to confirm the story by reading the other reports and then confirming per source, can confirm. And then the AP, the Associated Press, had a story with Tom Brady Sr. denying that his son was going to retire, that had made the decision to retire. Bruce Arians and the Bucs quickly said they had not been informed. In fact, the only thing they knew was Brady wasn't close to actually determining whether or not he's going to retire. So, Paul, as we disconnected from our Zoom session on Saturday and started reading the new headlines that were out, what were you thinking? Because I'm thinking, man, if Schefter gets this wrong, who are we to believe anymore on anything related to the NFL?
Can I jump in, Paul, before you go on this? I haven't had a chance to talk about this yet. Why are they reporting a retirement when it's not the player announcing a retirement? A retirement report is very odd for Tom Brady.
Almost like a death.
A number of things. Now, the ESPN angle to this, okay? If anyone would know, it should be ESPN, who Tom Brady has a relationship with his ESPN Plus show, Man in the Arena. ESPN Plus, you can go find it online. Their final episode is in production right now. Could be a good route for him to announce his retirement. But both these things don't make any sense. They have a relationship with Tom Brady. Why would they spoil the announcement to try to be the first to break a retirement story if they're trying to help their own product with ESPN Plus and they already have a relationship with Tom Brady? So it's a very mixed message type deal. Part of me says, well, it is Darlington and Schefter, ESPN employees. Brady has a relationship with ESPN. They would probably know before he would announce it. The other part of me says Tom Brady is now media savvy enough to release it how he wants to. And I don't believe that Tom Brady would want it released on a Saturday of championship weekend by Jeff Darlington and Adam Schefter. He's going to announce it how he wants, when he wants. The whole thing is uncomfortable to me. And I'm not willing to say he's retired until Tom Brady says so.
I don't disagree, but Darlington is close to people who are close to him, and Darlington gives it credence to me. And if Darlington reports it, I think it's good. If Darlington reports it, I pull out my hundo. 20, 40.
Armando, are you watching?
80. Hundo.
Paul's paying up.
Because it's Jeff Darlington.
I would hold on to that money, Paul.
Refundable.
Of course. If he plays, he's not retired.
Goes the other way.
All right, this will pay for an Uber in L.A. when we get there next week.
Yeah, one way. Also, not both ways. One way.
They don't take cash.
Well, he'll put that in his account. Then that'll pay for it.
For those not following along, and for those listening, I just gave
Paul
Chad
pays up.
Hutt the $100 that I owe him because I said Brady would play in Tampa and Aaron Rodgers would play in Green Bay. So. Pay me back $105 with interest.
Okay.
So I would hold on to that money if I were you, Paul. And here's where I stand on this. I fully believe that Tom Brady right now wants to retire or feels like he is going to retire.
We said this. Always close to the season,
yes,
you feel that way.
I also think a month from now, if he hasn't officially announced it, the further we go along where he hasn't officially announced it, the closer we get to Tom Brady playing again for Tampa Bay.
There is
and
one
it's also
factor
why
here, Chad.
I think it's not that it's unethical. To me, it's just very odd that ESPN is rushing to announce Tom Brady's retirement,
ESPN will rush
putting
to
it on the
announce
ticker throughout their basketball broadcast all day, making it like it's absolute fact.
Well, they're not couching it at all. That's what's surprising.
We haven't heard a thing from Tom Brady.
They'll rush to announce anything because they want to win anything. But here's the thing. What's the date of the bonus?
It's this week. It's
February 4th, I think. He's due 14.
But it's so yes, it's more than that actually. It's somewhere around $15 million in a roster bonus.
That's not written in stone. If he retires after that, he simply doesn't take the money or gives them the money back.
Yeah, if he retires, he owes them some of the signing bonus. But it's a prorated signing bonus is all that is. In reading into it, there was an initial report that said, well, it actually benefits Brady to stay on for another week because he's due millions from the Bucs if he's a part of the team by the start of February. But the way I read it, Paul, is he's getting that money either way.
Yeah,
but he pays back a portion of it if he retires before the season starts.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
There's no time factor with this.
The headline
he's getting
of
the same amount of money or giving the same amount of money back if he retires.
The headline reads that he's getting a bonus, but the details of it make it seem as though he's paying them back something if he retires before the season kicks off. It's all... I don't think that's the reason. Look,
the biggest pushback came from Don Yee, his agent.
Oh, and his dad.
Well, his dad was vehement about it. His agent said will control the timetable. Well, the team didn't come out and say it. The team talked to a bunch of reporters who then said it. But Don Yee's name was on it. Tom Brady Sr.'s name was on it, saying denying it. But we've talked about this before. Back in the day when I was in a more competitive, like day-to-day beat relationship. There's a certain reporter in town who would always be like, what you'd report a deal was done. He'd say, no, people are telling me the deal's not done. And then 3 days later, it'd say, oh, now it's done.
Well, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it.
It's like a death. You never want to be wrong on a death.
But also, it's not, even if they're right, and in a month from now, Brady officially announces it on the season finale of Man in the Arena on ESPN
he may announce it today.
or whatever. Or if it's today, I just don't feel like it's worth it to break that news. That's Tom Brady's news to break, especially if you are a media outlet with the relationship with Tom Brady. It's just weird that they would report it, they'd run it on the ticker all day, that his agent would say it's not true, that his dad would say it's not true, that Tom Brady would remain silent for now 48 hours after this news breaks.
And then have you
even
pissed
more than
off
48 hours?
Schefter and Darlington for the rest of your life?
What's the risk-reward of it? I mean, we're going to look back on Jeff Darlington's career and said, that's the guy who broke Tom Brady's retirement announcement. He scooped Brady's own announcement. It's weird to me.
Yeah, if you have it, you break it.
Well, here's
the way it works.
Here's why it could be done today. Brady hasn't talked on this. There's been no confirmation. And I was joking on Twitter this weekend because we're getting all these quotes from his dad, from his agent, from the Bucs. I said, the only one who can actually confirm this is Giselle. That she's the one that he continues to point to as one of the main factors for why he will retire now, coming off one of the best seasons he ever had, where he led the entire league this year in touchdown passes and yardage. If we hear from her and she denies it, then we know he's not retired officially. But joking aside, he's going to be a part of his weekly podcast tonight. He is going to be on the show with Jim Gray, the Let's Go podcast. And it's brilliant by him and for the TB12 brand where he doesn't speak on all this news. We've been discussing it for the last 2 days, and there's speculation that it may not be true, even though everyone is adamant from the media perspective that he is going to hang it up after 22 seasons. Well, Jim Gray's going to ask him about it tonight on his podcast, which is going to be circulated constantly throughout the news cycle tomorrow and throughout the week. And while I don't think he retires on a podcast recording, he's going to address it in some way. And according to the Bucs, he had recently called them right before the report came out, and I say right before, like a day before, and told Jason Light that he had yet to make up his mind on what he was going to do. All of this is very interesting to me because most of the time you'll get like a word or two, Paul, that will allow a report to have an out.
Yes.
Right? And the bottom line scroll that Chad's mentioned, I saw the same thing, and he's right. They are all in on this. Brady's going to retire. Breaking news. Tom Brady set to retire.
Retires after 22 seasons.
Yes.
It was said in
he's expected to
It was
retire.
Written in the affirmative throughout on that report.
Selfishly, I want him to play and continue to play based on what we've seen. I also think it would be in typical GOAT fashion to have this come out and for him to use it as a middle finger and say, you know what, I'm not done.